There was a time when people got ahead by knowing things. Actual, useful things. Scientists discovered elements. Engineers built bridges. Doctors cured diseases. Now? Now your success hinges on whether or not you give off the right energy. Take a job interview anywhere now. You walk in with degrees, certifications, a portfolio thicker than a congressional bill. The hiring manager barely glances at it before hitting you with the real question. But do you give off the right vibe? Not can you do the job, not what's your experience. No, 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 no. What really matters is whether you radiate the correct, vaguely defined aura that makes the manager feel good. You could be the best engineer alive, but if you don't exude the socially acceptable mixture of enthusiasm and chill, then you might as well be applying with a crayon drawing of your name. This is where we are now. Competence has been replaced by riz, skill by aesthetics, and logic by vibes. And this isn't just some workplace thing. This is how we pick politicians, how we judge credibility, how we decide who gets a platform and who gets ignored. Knowledge? Overrated. Experience? Boring. But a confident delivery with just the right je ne sais quoi? Now that's leadership material. How did we get here? Once upon a time, we at least pretended to value substance. The Enlightenment was all about logic, reason, and provable facts. The industrial era, for all its flaws, rewarded those who could actually build, innovate, or solve problems. Even mid-20th century corporate America, while still a hotbed of nepotism and exclusion, at least required some level of technical ability. But now we live in a world where the smartest person in the room gets ignored if they don't command the space, while a guy who thinks the moon is fake can pack a stadium because he knows how to work a crowd. We've traded intelligence for entertainment, expertise for aesthetics, and facts for whatever feels true. This isn't just annoying, it's dangerous. When society chooses leadership based on good energy over actual ability, we don't just get bad decisions, we get catastrophe. Because while vibes might win elections, they don't build bridges, they don't cure diseases, and they sure as hell don't stop planes from falling out of the goddamn sky. At some point, we decided that knowing things was optional. Not just optional, an obstacle. Expertise became a red flag, a sign that someone was probably an elitist rather than a real salt of the earth, good vibes kind of person. Intelligence makes people uncomfortable. But charisma? Well, Riz makes them feel safe. We don't live in a society that debates ideas anymore. We live in one that chooses between competing reality shows. Every CEO, politician, media personality, they're all less of leaders and more of contestants in a never-ending popularity contest. The prize? Influence, money, power. And the winner isn't the one with the best ideas, but the one who performs the best. Look at our politics. We keep electing people based on how well they talk rather than what they actually do. Take Trump. He didn't become president because he had a track record of governance. He became president because he knew how to work a crowd. He's not a leader. He's a performer. A man whose greatest skill is making people feel like he knows what he's doing, even when he obviously doesn't. And this isn't new. Charismatic incompetence has always been dangerous. Hitler didn't rise to power because of his economic expertise. He rose because he knew how to stir up emotions. Mussolini wasn't some great master strategist. He just looked the part and barked out slogans that made people feel something. Berlusconi? Italy elected a man who was essentially a game show host. The common thread? Not competence, not skill, charisma. But this phenomenon isn't just political. It's everywhere, especially in business. Look at Elon Musk, the poster child for modern vibes over substance. The man cultivates the image of a cool genius, but Tesla exists because of government subsidies and an army of engineers whose names no one knows. Musk's greatest innovation isn't cars, rockets, or AI. It's branding. He's convinced millions of people that he's single-handedly reshaping the future, when in reality, he's mostly just posting memes and taking credit for other people's work. And why does this work? Because the algorithm loves a good performance. Social media doesn't amplify truth. It amplifies engagement. The loudest voice, the best optics, the most emotionally charged soundbite. That's what wins. Thoughtfulness, nuance, expertise, that stuff doesn't go viral. A well-reasoned argument will get buried, but a slick, oversimplified rant with just the right energy, that's what gets shared. That's what gets elected. That's what wins. And the people who actually know things, they're sidelined, because no matter how smart you are, if you don't have the right vibes, you don't get the mic. It would be one thing if vibes just dictated what movies we watched, or which influencer's morning routine we tried and failed to replicate. But no, the cult of vibes has metastasized into something far worse, a tool for control. Politicians have figured it out. They know they don't need to do anything as long as they look like they're doing something. Policy at this point is irrelevant. Image is everything. That's how we ended up in the era of cool capitalism, where neoliberalism gets a fresh coat of progressive paint and sold to the masses like it's some bold new idea. Look at Obama, Macron, Trudeau. Leaders who master the aesthetic of progressivism while governing as centrists at best. Corporate puppets at worst. They throw out enough feel-good rhetoric, flash a winning smile, and suddenly the same old policies feel revolutionary. Obama sold hope while drone-striking civilians. Macron himself presents as a visionary while gutting labor protections. Trudeau? A man so committed to progressive aesthetics that he cosplays as different ethnicities. Their real genius isn't governance, it's branding. They are the Apple products of politics. Sleek, well-marketed, but fundamentally the same as everything else. On the other side, populists have weaponized anti-vibes, a manufactured grittiness that pretends to be authenticity. Trump's entire appeal was based on being an outsider, a man of the people despite being a billionaire whose golden toilet costs more than most people's homes. His followers didn't care about his policies or lack thereof. They cared about he felt like one of them, that he performed their grievances with just the right level of arrogance. And the left isn't immune either. AOC built a massive following not just through policy, but through social media fluency. She knows how to work the algorithm, how to make socialism aesthetic. That doesn't mean she's insincere, far from it. But it does mean she has to play the game, because if she didn't, no one would listen. That's the reality of modern politics. Substance without style gets ignored, but style without substance wins elections. And this isn't just politics. Capitalism got in on the scam ages ago. Brands don't sell products anymore, they sell identities. Nike doesn't sell shoes, they sell revolution while exploiting sweatshop labor. Pepsi tried to sell world peace with a Kendall Jenner ad that solved police brutality with a can of soda. The hypocrisy isn't a bug, it's a feature. The goal is to create an illusion of values so strong that people forget to check if those values are real. Welcome to the digital age of manipulation, where aesthetics and rule and reality is whatever gets the most engagement. Social media has turned us all into brand managers of our own existence. TikTok influencers dictate political discourse. Instagram aesthetics decide which causes deserve attention. The ones who win aren't the smartest, the most ethical, or even the most interesting. They're just the ones who look the part. And when vibes rule, the truth doesn't matter. Only perception of truth does. Here's the thing about living in a world where vibes reign supreme. Eventually, reality starts to crumble under the weight of collective delusion. You can only ignore expertise, data, and basic logic for so long before the cracks start to show. And buddy, they're showing. Take institutional trust, or rather the lack of it. People don't believe in anything anymore, and can you blame them? When politicians, media, and corporations all operate on a performance-first model, why would anyone assume they're telling the truth? Enter the era of weaponized skepticism, where the same distrust that should be aimed at the elites gets rerouted into complete nonsense. Flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, COVID truthers. These aren't just isolated weirdos yelling on Facebook. They're the inevitable product of a world where appearance beats reality. Because when everything is fake, it's easier to believe everything is a lie, including science itself. And academia, once a bastion of rigorous thought, now another victim of the market-driven vibes economy. Universities, in their desperate bid to stay profitable, have started operating like corporate training camps. The humanities? Gutted. Philosophy, history, the arts? Deemed unprofitable because they don't funnel students directly into jobs that serve the machine. Instead, schools push practical majors, which, surprise, are often just pipelines into corporate servitude. Critical thinking doesn't sell. Blind workforce compliance does. Then there's policy, a theater production in 3 acts. Every government, every corporation, every so-called social movement is now the business of aesthetics over function. Want proof? Look at greenwashing, where companies slap a leaf on a plastic bottle and call it eco-friendly. BP ran an entire campaign telling you to lower your carbon footprint while they spilled millions of gallons of oil into the ocean. Tesla sells itself as a green company while exploiting lithium mines and relying on fossil fuel power grids. The message? As long as it looks sustainable, it is. And don't even get started on social justice. The corporate world figured out policing language is cheaper than systemic change. That's why companies will update their pronoun policies before they raise wages. That's why Hollywood will make sure every TV show has a diverse representation while underpaying the actual marginalized workers behind the scenes. They've learned that if you say the right things, you never have to do the right things. Hypocrisy in action. But the worst consequence of all, we're getting dumber. And not in a funny, oh, we all spend too much time on TikTok kind of way. No, this is real. Reading comprehension is declining. Critical thinking skills are eroding. The digital native generations raised on algorithmic dopamine hits are losing their ability to process nuance. Studies show attention spans are shrinking. Misinformation spreads faster than truth. And as vibes take full control, we inch closer to a civilization too entertained to notice its own collapse. So now that we've fully diagnosed the disease, what's the cure? Is there even a way out? Or are we just doomed to live an endless cycle of choosing our leaders the same way we choose our favorite TikTok influencers? Is the next president going to be decided by who has the best get ready with me morning routine? Not if we reclaim critical thinking first. That means valuing knowledge over charisma, debate over blind agreement, and actual expertise over whoever looks best in a well-lit podcast studio. It means asking questions that cut deeper than how does this make me feel, and demanding answers that don't just sound good, but actually hold up under scrutiny. Cynicism is fine, hell, necessary, but it has to be the kind that exposes nonsense, not the kind that rejects reality altogether. That's the bastard offspring of cynicism known as nihilism. Then there's rejecting performative politics. No more letting politicians get away with rebranding neoliberal decay as progress just because they skateboard or post thirst traps. No more cheering for billionaires pretending to be rebels while exploiting workers like medieval lords. No more settling for vague hope and change platitudes, when what we need is policy, regulation, and redistribution. It's time to stop getting played by people whose only talent is knowing how to look the part. Which means we also have to rethink how we consume media. If your entire worldview is built off headlines, 60-second reels, and Twitter hot takes, congratulations, you've been assimilated into the vibe machine. The algorithm feeds you what feels right, not what is right. The fix? Media literacy. Read beyond the headline. Ask who benefits from the narrative. Learn how emotional manipulation works and why outrage gets more clicks than accuracy. Because right now, we're letting the least informed people dictate the conversation simply because they post more often. And if we don't, well, let's lean all the way into the dystopia. Imagine a future where elections are decided by who has the best Instagram filter, where debate stages are just TikTok dance-offs, where the Secretary of Defense is chosen via a reality show elimination round sponsored by Monster Energy. It sounds ridiculous until you realize we're already halfway there. So, if we want to break the spell, we have to start demanding more. More thought, more substance, more reality. Because if we don't, the next leader of the free world might just be a guy whose only qualification is a really sick vibe. Societies aren't built on vibes, but they do crumble under them.